Hi, besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love.
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun. And have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate. He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie. Allegedly allegations. And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining us today. It is Tuesday, July 30th. Giorgio, thank you for being here with me. I'm so glad we have Bestie Tuesdays back today.
I'm so happy to be here. I can't tell you. I didn't get to talk about Orange County last week. My mom's visiting from Greece, so I was busy doing stuff with her. So I was looking forward to today because I was like, oh, I have so much to say.
So much. I had Jessie, our mutual friend. If it weren't for her, we wouldn't have gotten connected as quickly as we did. So thank you, Jessie, for that. Jessie was on last week with me, and we did some of the Jersey and Orange County. Did we? Yeah, we did. And Love Island, which I am devastated Love Island is over. But thank you, Jesus, and our God, Ariana herself, for giving us a reunion. I'm thrilled by that. Wow. You and I were just kind of discussing some of the goings-ons in the Bravo world and how things have taken an odd shift, and it's kind of quiet right now in the Bravo-verse, which usually means something is coming. I know we both are very happy to see that Phaedra is joining this rather ill-fated season of Atlanta. Thank God.
First of all, I love the caption because we did call and she did answer. So, I mean, listen, this couldn't have worked out better. That's all I'm going to say, because the Kenya situation could have blown the whole entire season up. And now I feel like there's a way forward and they can work with this now. Like, it shakes it up. For sure.
Well, obviously, my thought is they're going to have to be filming for longer now because they had half of the season done. And obviously my thought is they're not going to have any of Kenya in this season. So they kind of have to start from, we're going to say 25% of the way by getting rid of her footage, because we know she would have been in a lot of it. So that's the hard part. It's, that's the thing, again, that you and I were talking about is in this era of Housewives, and I'm going to have to call it the post, and even though I know this is a different show, but the post-Scandival era has really shifted what the audience is craving. But it's like we crave mess and messiness, but we don't crave dirty. There's a big difference between the two words to me, and I feel like things have been getting dirty, and it was hard personally, because I have always loved Kenya. Not always. There were moments where I was like, oh my God. But, it's hard when we've got things like Jersey, what's happening here. And if y'all didn't listen to Andy's radio show yesterday, he did tell a caller, look, I think it is time for a reboot. And I don't disagree, but I'm hearing there are going to possibly be Gorga spinoffs. And I mean, I don't know. I love Melissa as a person. Would this spinoff mostly entail Joe Gorga doing stuff? Because that's all I would imagine. The two of them together are what kind of bring the interesting aspects, I should say. I'm not trying to say Melissa's boring. I don't think she's boring. I think when she's put in the right situation, she can bring it. But if there's no one bringing it for her, then what?
Look, it's all chemistry, right? Like this is,
Yeah.
like even for me, it's like hard for me to get my own project off the ground because it's like I'm the only person carrying the entire thing. So it has to be thought out in a way. And so if there is going to be any of them, though, we've seen multiple Bravo Lebs that do super well within their cast, right? And you're like, give them a spinoff. And then you give them the spinoff and then it's a dud. Why? Because a lot of the magic comes from an interaction or the chemistry you have with another cast member. And so it's tricky when you do with the spinoff route, because if you don't have a unique group around these people that are going to be able to kind of bounce off of, then anybody would be I would think at least that anybody would be a dud in that situation. Like, I don't think anybody can just carry their own show, not even Teresa.
No, they're cast to be part of an ensemble. And when you are cast for specifically ensemble, it's because you know how to, just like you were saying, bounce off of other people. And if you're by yourself, that's a totally different thing. And, it's not like we're saying these people aren't interesting on their own. But that being said, without all the players, it becomes just something so different. And I don't see how, I don't know. I'm not a network exec, so my vision is different, but it is a lot of the audience. I have the audience goggles on. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, but sometimes, the executives don't really know what the audience really wants because they are looking at it from their own lens of what they think would be fitting.
True.
And I think now, slowly but surely, we are seeing that the audience and their feedback is being taken into consideration more and more. Now, it's not like leaps and bounds by any means, but it is in some situations we've seen it play out where it's like, you just know that they had a meeting and said, look, the general consensus online is X, Y, and Z. So we definitely need to like monitor this, or we need to change this, or we need to get rid of this person for whatever the reason is. So
I think a wiser decision, and I do want them to take into account what the audience says. I think a wiser decision from a marketing standpoint is if there's someone that the audience can't stand, they're absolutely going to tune in even more to hate watch a certain person so that they can yell at their TV. So sometimes it needs to be taken a little bit more heavily, that it might actually do more good to go ahead and keep, as long as they're not doing something terrible, or illegal, or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if it's just that people are just getting pissed off at someone, that actually can benefit you to keep them on the cast. It keeps people wanting to continue to watch it. As crazy as it sounds, I think that it would be wise to stop just getting rid of everybody that we get pissed at. They clearly weren't. Everyone was furious with Sandoval and they kept him. Duh. And from what I hear, they are planning to film Vanderpump Rules this fall. So we'll see what happens there. I can't even Vanderpump Rules. I'm kind of exhausted. I'm more, the Love Island USA was far more fascinating and interesting and juicy to me than this last season of Vanderpump Rules. It just was too much. Before we jump into Orange County, I know you saw this. I know you did. That Carl Radke opened a cafe called Soft bar, cafe. So you couldn't get softness and tenderness from Lindsay, so you had to get it in the name of your bar. Sorry, bar, cafe.
I think I'm getting to the end of my road with him, and just it's becoming too much of a clown show now.
Right?
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It just feels a bit like a clown show.
It's the horse and pony show.
Just calm down with the bars and the cocktails and the mocktails and we get it. We get it. You white labeled some shit and you felt like, great. Not hating on that, but like at the same time, like calm down.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, sobriety, being sober, making that choice and working on that every day is incredibly admirable. I know it's difficult, and that's putting it mildly. It's just when it becomes everything that sometimes it's too much. And I would have loved to see him do something like this more quietly, almost in the way that Craig and Austin opened that bar in New York. They didn't make this giant to-do about it. Don't tell us about any of your endeavors, Carl, until it's done and it's open. I think that would have been interesting to have people. Again, I don't know why I'm looking at things from a marketing standpoint today, but that's what's happening. If they had someone reaching out to content creators who post about sober living and things like that and had them go to this opening, make a bunch of content and then later on release that it was Carl's place. I think that if they had circulated good content from good content creators, like how they're the foodies and just putting like amazing content up. And then if they're like, oh, by the way, this is Carl Radke's place. I think that would have been a much smarter move than being like, yeah, Soft Bar Cafe is happening. Like, it almost just feels like he's just trying to prove Lindsay wrong. And at this point, honey, she's having a baby girl. It's done. It's done. Like, why are you even doing this at this point?
He's just having a pissing match with himself.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into Orange County. What do you say, Giorgio? I first want to hear your opinion specifically on the Gina, Jenn eviction of it all.
Okay. Because you know what? I feel like I get so worked up over stuff like this because I just feel like why does everything get so twisted? Okay. No, I understand Jenn did not plan perhaps to move into a house that was $12,000 a month and not expect to have the rent paid. Why do I think that and know that? Because understanding more and more about who Jenn is, she is someone that was always taken care of. Someone else did it for her in every regard. As we learned, she's never had a credit card in her name, right? So it's either dad had the credit card in his name, she was the authorized user. But she never really had to do anything to like keep herself as an adult on the straight and narrow. So when things like this happen where she's going through a divorce and she assumes, oh, I just have to find a house for me and all of these kids, but William's he's gonna handle what he said he was gonna handle, rather than saying, okay, I need to talk to Will. How much can I guarantee that you're going to pay the rent? And if that's the case, I need that in writing. And then further to that, you would be on top of those rent payments every month. You don't just wait until you get text messages in a group chat to be like, wait, my rent's not being paid. Oh, wait, I'm getting evicted. Oh, wait, my cast member basically got me into this $12,000 leased house without a credit check, because more than likely it would not have allowed
her
for
dad
her.
co-signed though. So I
Who?
think her father
No,
co-signed.
totally. Because even that, what she doesn't make enough, even without a credit check, to be able
Mm.
to afford that type of house. But that's my point, is that she isn't getting where Gina's coming from. She's walking into a cafe decked out. And I'm not saying she needs to look like a garbage can, but it doesn't, to me, it doesn't look good aside from the Gina stuff. It doesn't look good to be walking around in Gucci when you've been evicted.
Yeah,
And on top of that, everyone keeps bringing up Gina's casita situation and that she, whatever. But to me, Gina did what you were supposed to do in that situation. She put her kids' needs ahead of hers. She scaled down immensely to ensure that she could always keep a consistent roof over her kids' head.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, maybe some of it was a little projection because from her angle, it seems like everything gets handed to Jen in a very polished way.
Gina is a
regardless of who it is.
projector. That is my biggest issue with Gina, is that she is such a projector at the end of the day. When she did it last season with Jen, when she, whatever
With the cheating.
transpired with the cheating or not cheating between Jen and Ryan. At the end of the day, it wasn't about Gina, yet Gina made it about Gina then. And so that's where it's hard personally when this is happening. Number one, if I'm Gina, let's say, and I'm starting this new career, and this other agent that was supposed to help her make this sale for this all cash buyer, and she says she lost out on 50 grand because of this all cash buyer that this agent didn't return her calls for. You didn't have that great of a relationship with this agent to begin with. If you couldn't be like, oh my God, I have to talk to you. I can't believe this happened. If she's representing the woman in the home that you helped Jennifer get into, or Jen, I'm sorry. There are too many Jens everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I feel like no one is right here. And it's not that even it's anyone's fault. Particularly, it comes down to, look, Jen didn't do her own due diligence of being like, hey, maybe I should see exactly how much per month Will is willing to give me for rent for our children to be in a home. Is it insanely expensive? Yes. But you could, and Gina's an example of how you can get a much smaller home for less money per month. So it was on Jen to get that figured out. Now, living in LA, listen, it did not matter how much I made on any commercial, how much money I was bringing in, because my money in that sense was never consistent. So I could have been making 10 times the rent one month, but not the next. And it was up to me to figure out how to stretch that out. So my dad would have to co-sign on apartments all the time. Honey, I didn't have credit at all, really, when that was happening. This is where I could be wrong, but I can only speak from my own experience. When you have a co-signer, they have to make out usually and it depends, between 3 to 5 times the rent per month, more than what they expect the person living in there to make, right? If they were going off of my credit to see if I was able to get into some of these places, I would have lived in an overpass with the guy that takes shits in front of the cars that are driving by. Okay. Oh yeah, it would happen all the time in LA. Don't worry about it. That being said, I think Gina helped a lot with this, but I don't think personally that the reason Jen's credit was not checked the way it was solely because Gina was like, oh my God, it's totally fine. She's a friend of mine.
No, you're right. It absolutely was a mix of a couple things, right? It's good for the realtor representing that house to have it on the show. There's a cast member that obviously is on a show that's a hit show. Yes, there's going to be a lot of steps skipped in that process. And to your earlier point, her dad co-signed on this lease. So in the event that William did not pay whatever amount he agreed verbally to pay at whatever moment, you know, here's the other part to this that Jen, like, I get it. Gina probably is projecting some of her own stuff there. But I think there's also something to be said about the reality that is a Gina situation and not a Jen situation. Because quite frankly, not everybody in Jen's situation with that many kids is going to be privileged enough to stay her ass in Orange County with a pool in the backyard and dirt bikes for her kids to run around with, which, by the way, I thought it was illegal for children to ride their dirt bikes, especially without helmets.
I was going to say without a helmet, that freaked
they kept
me
that
out.
in the edit for whatever reason, obviously knowing that. Nonetheless, my point is, yes, I'm not saying Gina is a saint or that anybody should be judging anyone in Jen's shoes, but I also think Jen likes to play this victim card a little bit too much. And sometimes you got to get up off your ass and figure it out. You're an adult. You have children. You can't just keep being like, I didn't know.
No, you have to figure it out.
My rent was not going to get paid, Gina. Like, because you should know those things.
Well, that's the thing is you didn't have any sort of conversation about a budget, nothing. Like, that's where it's like, come on, man. You know, and again, Gina has a right to be beyond frustrated in this because when it does, we've seen enough reality TV shows on real estate. Yes, reputation is important. It's imperative to what you're doing. If someone's bad mouthing you and your business practices, yeah, that's terrible. You know, I think that there's something that was very telling about this, though, that I think Gina is also really mad at herself because she learned a lesson the hard way. In this instance, I think if Gina had asked Jen, kind of double checked beforehand, so this price is okay for you, will agree to this. Gina would have brought up that she had double checked with her. You know what I'm saying? Gina's the type that would have been like, I checked with you, but I don't think she did. So I think Gina had to learn a hard lesson in this. And she's also pissed at Gina, you know, and I get it. I've been there, you know?
I think it's the aloofness that Jen has around not only this, but her own situation with William and Ryan and all of it. She's aloof. I mean, listen, she's living in whatever La La Land is keeping her sane. Yeah. But I don't know. I do see, I empathize with Gina on this, not solely because she got her in the house, but because it's like, look, you are kind of making me look stupid here.
Yeah, you're making me look like I'm going to bring in buyers, clients who not only won't be paying on time. Do it. Like if I say I have a all cash buyer, then people are going to side eye me going, do you really though? And so I do understand that. It's one of those situations that, yeah, there's no clear cut. Oh my God, this person is 100% right. I think Gina went a little too hard at Jen merely because, one, Jen is not really that type of person that it does anything to go hard at. We've seen now. She's going to cry. She's soft-spoken. She's very sweet. And so it's like, what were you expecting to come from yelling at her? And I know Gina's in New York or Long Island, right? I think. And she's got a different energy than Jen, who's from Oklahoma. Now I'm from Oklahoma and I'm not exactly this like demure, soft-spoken person, but that's just who Jen is. And Gina was not setting herself up for a good situation by coming in that hot. You know what I mean?
Well, there's also some deflection she's got to do here too in regards to her situation at home with Travis.
Yes.
So she's got to play ball any which way she can to get the camera time to focus on that debacle rather than why is Travis moving out, but y'all aren't breaking up. And listen, I've grown to love Gina very much. And I would say that I think she has grown while being on the show in a lot of different ways. And part of that is showing up and being on the show. Like, I feel
Right.
like she's grown in that aspect. But I think, you know, Jen is just going to always seemingly get a pass because she's sweet. And I think she also knows that. And I think she plays that to her advantage. I don't know if she's as sweet as she comes off.
I don't know. I don't know. But what I would say is I hope she starts getting some financial literacy, especially if she's.
But why isn't her dad helping her in that way? Not with just giving her the money. Why isn't he being like, okay, you're now a single mom. I need you to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, baby girl. So yes, I will co-sign on a house, but I'm not co-signing on a $12,000 a month house because that's not going to help you feel motivated to be able to pay that. That's the problem. She even says her yoga studio does not make any money, yet
They're
she's
not
still
paying
doing
themselves.
it. You're paying an exorbitant amount of money every month to lease a space in a very expensive shopping center.
Yeah.
Why? Because she's always been given something to keep her, like, whatever she wanted, she got. And Ryan sees that, in my opinion. Ryan sees this as a weak bird who he can swoop in and help and then keep her distracted, because now she's not going to be looking at him any which way other than being thankful.
I think part of it is it just kind of makes me sad for her because she's not someone you want to see fail. And not that you necessarily want to see anyone fail, but it just, I want to see her come up and be like this bad bitch who's like, actually, here's what I need. I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to do this and that. Like, you know, you could have gotten an $8,000 a month rental. And I'm speaking in real terms here in Orange County. How many kids are in there? 4 or 5? Maybe someone needs to share a room. You know, that's the way it goes until you get your stuff figured out. It's hard. It's hard. Okay, so at the flag football day, when Shannon ends up telling them that who was she telling? She was telling Gina and Emily, and was it Katie sitting there? I can't remember if Katie was sitting there or not. That she's been working out with her trainer Steven for 6 years, and she introduced him to John Jansen. Well, and Alexis and John were working out with her trainer at her gym. And here's the thing, I bet it's one of those little private type of gyms that there are so many of those types to choose from in Orange County. So they went ahead and made it look a little bit they made it look as ridiculous as it is. It is that ridiculous that, like, why would you want to go to the tiny gym that your ex, like I'm talking about John and Alexis, I wouldn't want to go there if I were dating someone new, unless I were trying to piss them off. And clearly, John has some vendetta. So does Alexis against Shannon.
I think, listen, I'm going to say this because I need to make sure that it is abundantly clear. I'm not going to absorb all this funny, uplifting edit that we're getting for Shannon, considering the monstrosity of her behavior coming into the season. She can't just take an episode and just apologize and now go back to being funny and making costumes. Because to me, I feel like if that was any other cast member, they would be grilling the mess out of them. And I feel like the edits are giving a little bit like, I don't know.
Well, how much more are you wanting from it then? Because
I think there needs to be more discussion, and maybe there will be. And it seems like there is, at least
there will be, I think, yeah.
From Tamra. But like, I think the issue is not the DUI, even though it is. Like, I don't know. There's not much she can do, but I feel like, I don't know, there's something about it that she's getting a little bit of a slide by on it.
Yeah, you know, I think part of what this is one, I'm going to be honest, I don't want to hear about her DUI nonstop all season.
No.
She has shown the contrition that I do need to see. She and if she hadn't apologized to Gina for how she treated her, I think I would have more issue with it. And I know that it's not that I don't have issue with her being at a point that she's driving her car into someone's home and with her dog in the car, and that, like, clearly. I think that what's going to happen, this is just my guess, no one's told me anything. I think Shannon's about to get it hard from Alexis and from Tamra. And I think it's going to happen in probably 2 or 3 episodes. We're going to wait a few weeks before this comes, at least. But she's about to get it. And I think they needed to put in there that we're not just going to have a full-on beatdown season, because one, they learned from, again, I hate bringing it up 500 times, but like Sandoval, if we had a whole beatdown season of Tom Sandoval, there was nothing to be interesting there, right? Now, I think that they're trying to remind us the reasons that those of us who have liked Shannon or what have you, or haven't been entertained by her, I should say, that, look, these are the aspects that she has entertained you, her kookiness, her silliness, all of this, because I think it's going to get intense and it's going to be a lot of stuff, because Alexis keeps alluding to something. There's something that she doesn't want me to go there because I will go there, about something. And we saw it, like, I think it was the trailer that came out originally that Alexis is, again, insinuating there is some thing or things she could reveal that would just ruin Shannon, I believe were her words, something along those lines. I just have a feeling there's a big beatdown coming for Shannon, also because she's been doing all of her press now. And I don't think she's going to be doing any press toward the back end of the season. Just my thought.
Look, I'm not looking for Shannon to get crucified by any means. But just even from the first episode, it felt like we're going to glide her in here. And yes, to your point, there might be some heavier stuff coming down the pipeline. And so they're like, let's not make her edit this intense. Fine. But, with the Alexis stuff, I also wonder if, she's solely coming on the show to repair whatever this reputation that they feel Shannon demolished of John Jansen's, because every episode Alexis is literally at someone's throat about basically trying to bring them over to the John Jansen side. And it's really weird because it's like, I don't recall on the show anything super dark coming out about him.
No.
Only things that ever came up were that he was cheap with Shannon and he didn't really seem like he was happy with her. Or that they weren't happy.
We picked up from his behavior on the show. The way he was like making her scoot across the car just to get out when he parked too close to the curb. Just like, and I know that's minor, but he did enough things that we remember. The way he was talking about Gina so loudly at that party to Shannon. And yes, he was defending her. Yes, defend your woman. But at the same time, why don't you do it in a little bit more respectful manner? We've just seen enough that we didn't need Shannon to really say a whole hell of a lot. Of course, Shannon would probably do her, eyes.
He also signed up to be on this with her. When he met Shannon, she was already on the show. Yeah. So this whole like campaigning for JJ is really weird. It's also, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this is Alexis just trying to do what she needs to do to get back on the show.
Yeah, and you can tell she's getting her feet wet again. And this is especially in her confessional after, she goes over to Gina and she's like, "Oh yeah, my trainer said that you were at the gym. I'm sorry, our trainer, John's trainer said you were at the gym." Like, okay, because then she goes in and she tells Gina that Shannon hadn't been working out in this gym for 6 months. And then in confessional, it's John's gym. And by the way, you can't call it your gym unless you bought the place. Do you own it? No, neither does John, you half-wit. Contradict yourself within 5 seconds of spewing a sentence out, and we're already going to be like, man, what do you do with that place between your ears? Is it to catch butterflies? Because I don't know what you're doing with it.
She's just too aggressive about any opposition to JJ. She's she's pissed all over every bit of him, and you better not. That's how she's coming off, and it's just like I wouldn't want to be around her ever.
No,
if that's how we're gonna be.
John Jansen, like, no, thank you. Because on top of that too, it's like it's like she's brainwashed almost, and she's just this little soldier going and doing whatever bidding, and it's very much she's behaving a lot of the way she behaved with her husband Jim, and it, like, very much the wife stays at home, the way he spoke to her on camera. I forgot about how truly atrocious that man Jim could be. It's you forget these things. But that's the thing too, is I don't even think the editors had to work hard to give Shannon a more shining edit in the beginning of this, because Alexis is doing such a good job of having everyone feeling sympathetic and empathetic to Shannon in this situation, that it's like, because it's one thing if you just have to be around your ex's new partner, but it's another if that person is going to walk in and be like, yeah, we had sex twice today, and I don't know, the day is still young. Like, excuse me while I shove my foot down your throat. Thank you very much. I don't care. Like, that would set me off.
If you're, I guess this is why it's like so thirsty of her. It's just, you don't know every single one of these women that well to be engaging in conversation like that. Also, you wouldn't in reality be talking. I mean, I don't want to say nobody would, because I'm sure there are some people that would do that. But generally speaking, if you were at a luncheon with your now boyfriend's ex,
no.
Okay, you're going to stay far away from her. You're going to refrain from even sounding like you're talking about JJ. You're just going to keep it classy, and you're going to keep it moving. Because typically that would happen because you didn't plan on being at the same thing. It's a small town, right?
Right.
Alexis came in she threw her big old dick on the table immediately and was like, I know it must suck that I have your ex-boyfriend, Shannon Bador. There's the door, Storms. Go find another hurricane tornado. Not here. Not me.
Because I'm the F5, bitch.
Oh, no. How many times did she do that interview confessional? Let me do it again. No.
You will not win with him. No, you won't.
Not this one. Not this beach on the sand.
Not this fish in the ocean. This orange.
You better go find another apple, Eve. Like, what else? How many other analogies and metaphors are you going to try to come up with Shannon Bador Storms?
She is so contrived, is what the issue is.
Yes, like,
she's contrived without rehearsing
enough. Helping her at night rehearse her sound bites.
Johnny J. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. First of all, did this flag football scene kind of remind you at all of that scene in Bridesmaids where it was Kristen Wiig and Rose Byrne, and they were taking that tennis match very seriously, and then they had the women around them who were normal, like upper middle class moms, and they were just like enjoying their time? That's what this was, where it's like they had these random non-cast members that were just like, yeah, I'm just here at the beach. Oh, look, there's a TV, don't you know? And these other women are literally breaking nails trying to kill each other.
And it's flag football. You don't have to like tackle each other, guys.
They were dying to do it. So then when we did get to Jen and Gina's confrontation, really what it came. Oh, God bless you, Jen. Sweetheart. Gina, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. I started cracking up because I was like, Jenn, baby girl, this is not doing what you thought it was. When Gina's like, this real estate agent won't even take my phone calls. And Jen's like, well, she's returning mine.
Yeah, because she's trying to get you out of her house, squatter.
Get your fucking money. Like, sweetheart.
Do you know what this is? Do you know what something is sinking in, because Emily's getting roasted about how she treated Jenn too. Not saying it's right, but there's this East Coast, like, dust your ass off and get like cut it out enough. There's
let's throw Dolores in this scene and see how that would have gone.
What's that?
Let's throw Dolores Catania into this scene and see how it would have gone.
It would have she probably would have found a way to stay Switzerland in the situation.
Or
like
Margaret.
She would have been like, or Margaret too. But honestly, the thing that I understand with Emily saying too, like, you knew when you knew that this was not working out, you should have started. That's where I think it's different for Gina. She is more of a hustler. So she's going to, as soon as something sounds like it's going down, she's going to start to pack and plan to make the abruptness, the crash landing, if you will, as smooth as possible. Whereas Jenn is going to wait for the plane to crash and then be like, how was I supposed to know when it was going down?
Exactly. And that's the thing.
And I'm going to use text message where you're like, oh, hi, William, you're not paying 70% of this $12,000.
The way I would have shit myself if I saw that and I were Jenn. You know, there's a word I'm going to use that I want it to be taken the right way when it pertains to Jenn. I'm not, because this word can be taken in a completely different context a lot of times, but please try and understand how I mean it. Jenn, this is where I think Emily had a difficult time with Jenn in this moment. Emily, she didn't grow up, from what I understand, as privileged as Jenn did. And it has nothing to do with IQ intelligence level. There is a difference between being ignorant, wise, and educated, right? And intelligent. The problem is Emily's looking there at Jenn and she's seeing that Jenn has been ignorant. And because ignorance is a choice that you make. You choose not to educate yourself. And I'm not talking about higher education. I'm talking about learning life. And that's where Emily is like, how the fuck have you lived this long choosing this ignorance of, and look, was it a little harsh? Wait, yes, it was harsh. But I think for someone like Emily, who's been like, I have to be self-sufficient. I have to be that person who goes and gets shit done for myself. And she looks at Jenn and is like, it doesn't compute to her that there would be people who are even around her that would choose not to just get their shit taken care of so they can have a happy life. So I think that's where, to be honest, I think Emily genuinely was like, I don't understand how someone could live like that. And it came off much more harsh than I think she even realized it did, to be frank. I think she just genuinely was like, this doesn't compute for me. How can you not? How?
Well,
Who does
I
that?
guess too, because she's also like, well, you're a mom. Like, why are you just letting it sit and fester? And why are you waiting for a guy to come save you all the time?
And because, honey, it ain't like that anymore. Life is very different in 2024, 2023 when this was filmed. Or no, it was filmed in 2024, wasn't it? Because they did their New Year's thing, right?
It was filmed in 2024. Yeah.
Okay. The schedules have all gotten so strange. That's what you and I also were talking about previously. And then Ryan absorbing the $24,000 debt. Oh my God. Ooh, girl, I hope you got something in writing for that.
Well, look, clearly it wasn't that big of a deal because the guy gave her his other car. That's probably paid off. And I could go down a rabbit hole with this one, but I won't. Yeah. But yes, great. He absorbed the $24,000 debt. That's what if you're gonna deal with someone who's in that position, then you can't be in their lives and not support in some capacity. So yes, was it his choice to do that? Yeah. Was she dumb to let him do it? Yeah. Because now you're indebted to him. And she said that. She said, if anything happens between us, I'm not gonna have a car, I'm not gonna have a house. So that's what everyone I think is trying to get at when they're being hard on her. It's not because they're just being judgmental to be judgmental. They're also being like, girl, you
also
are
have
going to
kids.
keep going through this where you don't know where you're sleeping. You don't know where you're driving, what you're driving. But all you want to do is keep doing the yoga studio thing and nothing's seeming like it's clicking for you. So what if being evicted is not enough of a shakeup to be like, okay, I've got to figure this out. And I'm not saying she's not. But up until this point, you didn't seem like you were. And your whole attitude around being evicted was also a little bit scary because it's also like, well, what do you want me to do?
See, all I can think about, like, you know, with you bringing up, yes, that Emily's looking at her as you're a mother. To me, if I had to tell my child who is a teenager, well, baby, we got evicted, whether it's my fault or not, it doesn't matter. I am going to feel mortified for how that would make him feel. I would hate, and then for it to be on television, and then for me to be a public figure on top of that, and then to move him. And then Jen's fallback is that she would have to go back to Oklahoma, to Tulsa, and live with her parents. So what, you're going to cart off your, what, like 17-year-old, your 15-year-old, 13-year-old, in high school, one of them, they're clearly at least a junior or a senior. Can you imagine that? Like, it breaks my heart for her kids after their parents are separated. And, you know, it seemed like they had a fairly stable home up until all of this. I mean, that breaks my heart for her kids. And it makes it even harder to understand why she wouldn't have tried to wise up. Is all I can say.
What about that flashback they showed of her daughter being like, I just want to have a home to like feel like home. And she's like, I want that too, sweetie. Hello? This is what I'm saying. Like, that's not the response she's looking for.
No, the response is, you know what, baby? I'm going to make sure we have a home. It may not be the same type of home we've always lived in, but you are going to have a home.
I don't think they care. I think they want consistency at this point. They don't want to keep packing up their stuff and jumping to another house. Not much to ask for, in my opinion, but
no. Kids need consistency. That's it. Like,
but you know what? After thinking about it a little bit more, you know, William, what kind of dad are you that you keep letting your kids have to jump around like that? Yes, maybe you can agree with the $12,000 a month situation, but you clearly agreed to it at some point.
And you have the money.
And you clearly have the money.
That's what I kind of find sick, is that he just decided he wasn't going to pay. It's one thing if you didn't. Now, we don't know if he agreed to it to begin with, but that is the home for your children as well, my guy. It's shitty all around. You know what I'm saying? It's just shitty all around.
What happens when you have a divorce that goes sour is that the kids often are pawns in the parents' little game until they burn out of money and they finally come to their wits and they decide to settle, like they did just recently. But
yeah, well, look what Simon did to Tamara. The way he was trying to turn her children against her, and the way he treated her.
He kind of did. At least with one of them still, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, those things can be so ugly. And I think Jen is going to learn the hard way that she's going to have to smarten up on some of these things, like houses, leases. How much can you really afford? Do you still need this yoga studio? Is there something else you could do to make more consistent money? I don't know.
Maybe be a private yoga trainer.
Or something else.
Are y'all not selling any retail in there on top of that? Like, it's probably marked up so high and probably a bunch of stuff that you can get anywhere. you got to think smarter, not harder about these type of things.
Or do you need a $9,000 a month leased space for a $50 yoga class? I mean, who did the math there?
She makes what? She said she made $50 a class or $25 a class?
50.
50.
It's Orange County. So yeah, someone will pay the $50, but how consistent and how many of those studios are there in that area
I would be doing yoga classes from dusk till dawn. I would never
won't be making up your like. That's what I mean. Like, I just don't understand why she's not getting why people are looking at her and being like, why aren't you doing something else? She's like, what do you mean?
I mean, Gina could have said something aside from teaching outdoor yoga classes. I don't know why she just kept shouting that particular thing at her, but maybe like do personal training, do that. Like there are a lot of things to do. I mean, even if she started a yoga YouTube channel and had subscriptions, like look at us trying to come up with stuff for her. But
I'm not giving her free ideas. That's the problem. Everyone's been helping her. She can figure it out herself. For God's sakes.
He is saving that up for someone worthy right now, Jennifer.
Well, and Jennifer blocked me, so I'm not helping her anyway.
Did she really?
You're on your own, babe.
No one ever blocks you. That's surprising.
Well, Jen
Well,
did.
actually, I know why she did. Never mind. Ignorance is bliss. Am I right?
You don't have to see it. You don't have to know about it.
I gotta say, when Gina interjects in the flag football conversation, she's softening to Jen after she sees she's not going to win this fight with Jen because Jen's, clearly she really just doesn't seem to get it. And when she says, well, now that I have a little bit of extra money, I want to take my kids on a vacation. And while I understand, I do wholeheartedly understand that she feels bad that she can't take all 6, but how am I going to choose the 3 and not the 6? Well, number one, babe, you did go ahead and decide to blend the family when you couldn't afford a house by yourself with the kids. And so y'all got that 3-bedroom home and blended the kids. And because you did that with Travis, you were able to get a house that you could have a little tiny bit more space in. So now that you have a little bit of extra money, you want to go on vacation, but also Travis needs to pay for his own goddamn kids on the vacation and you two need to be coming together. So are you moving out because you want to take your kids on vacation? What's going on? What's going on?
Well, what she's not going to say is that Travis is essentially going broke dealing with his ex. It's not just as simple as like, oh, she makes it difficult for him. This is like on another level. And
I heard his ex comes from money.
Yeah, and so she has money to throw when she wants to be pissy. And actually, someone, at least pretending to be her, was in my comment section the other day under a very weird, it looks like a bot account, then you go to it and it's like, seemingly it could be her, but it sounded like very personal in the message because she knows that she cannot legally say anything bad about them. So it seems like this might be a burner account of some sort. I don't know. All I know is that there is too much trash that Travis has to carry around. And I think Gina's starting to have to pick up the slack financially in a lot of areas. And I hate saying this. I really do, because I hate giving this woman credit. I really freaking do. I really do. You guys will not like it either, but she was right. Kelly Dodd called this from the minute it happened. She said that man does not make any money. Gina is going to have to pick up all the slack financially. And I'm not saying that's 100% of the reason why he's moving out, but she did say she started resenting not being able to spend as much on her kids because it wouldn't be fair to his kids to not get that same level. And,
I get it.
I'm not saying he doesn't work.
Right. But
it seems that most of his money is going to things that aren't helping them grow their family unit.
It's a tough situation. It is. I mean, I don't want to speak on some of the legalities that I've been hearing too, because it's hard to get things confirmed that are iffy. You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of allegations here and there,
Heavy ones.
and and so I think some of that's sprinkled into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how this pans out for her.
Yeah.
On the show, like how much they're gonna really get into it, because I think people are already kind of questioning how are you guys moving separately and not breaking up, but like that's kind of like
it's odd.
Well, because even Travis is like, why are you acting all like upset? You're the one that wants to do this,
Oh, he was so pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so pissed.
He's so pissed.
This whole thing with first of all, Emily, good God, girl, you are so freaking hot. I don't even know what to say anymore. We're hot. That lingerie shoot, Jesus. She's just stunning. She was stunning before the weight loss. She's stunning now. I think it's her confidence that makes her look even like shine even more. It's not even about what the weight is at all, to be frank. And I'm not trying to sound.
She just looks like she feels better in her skin, so she can really let her personality shine even more.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, she's tough as nails. Yeah. She's got a good thick skin on her. But I think she looked amazing. And I thought it was funny that Shannon was there with her doing it, because Shannon loves a good costume, as we know. So
yes, honey. The whole thing again, this trainer and everything is brought up where allegedly this trainer, now if it's the same trainer at the gym where Johnny J and Alexis were going, is this the same trainer that when Shannon very vulnerably took the t-shirt off with her sports bra after she'd gone through her own weight issues, and he said, "Oh, okay, wow. Please tell me, sir." If it is, then I do not doubt that he said these things to Alexis.
I think it is.
Okay. I was wondering. Because I'm like, okay, that's like, I don't know if these two women are blowing this out of proportion. Whenever I guess Alexis and John were in there and the trainer was like, this guy Alex was like, hey, look, I don't want any drama here. And Alexis goes, "Oh, I'm a good Christian girl." And he's allegedly said, "Oh, a good Christian girl that talks about their sex life." Okay, first of all, John and Alexis blaming Shannon that she told him. Yeah, she probably did. He's been her trainer for how many years? She needed the anger to fuel her energy to get through that workout, okay? Nothing will get you to hold that wall squat or keep doing another lunge better than the energy fueled by anger.
Listen, I don't know why you would think she wouldn't have told her trainer. I don't know why that's so. Why are you running around telling everybody on camera that you're banging him 4 times a day if you don't want to getting back to your trainer?
I mean, there were other people at that luncheon, by the way.
Yes, but like also it is getting very single white female.
That's exactly. She is a full-blown bunny boiler showing up with an Archie knockoff. This dog even had that platinum blonde type of golden look. And, it was when Shannon's listing off all these ways, the way Alexis is trying to be here. You got my ex-boyfriend. You're going to the same restaurants. We went the same gym on the same boat, going to the same hotel that he took me for my birthday. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think Alexis is actually trying to be Shannon, obviously, but she's kind of, being a monster who wants to just take everything Shannon has. It's a very much like Alexis thinks she is Katie Heron and Mean Girls and that Shannon is Regina George. But honey pie, it's not the same. It's just psychotic at this point. John has told her something.
Yes.
And she is just such a little soldier for him. It's
like he pegs her right before she goes into film with something else to get her going about, because it's like she can't just be, can we just get to know you again? Do we have to make everything revolve around your relationship that's been 5 minutes at this point?
Exactly. But that's the thing is I don't remember really liking Alexis very much to begin with. She was very
I actually don't think I did either now that I'm thinking. And I know why.
yeah. Because she was all about being her husband's wife. She was never about being Alexis. She always used something else as her identity. You know, like for her being a Christian and her husband's wife to Jim. That was her entire identity. Right now, well, it's the same thing. First of all, how about now we got to talk about another dog. Sutton's dog, Junebug Carter Cash. Oh my goodness. That cute little roly-poly.
Oh.
Sorry, sometimes these doggies get me.
Of course Sutton has that dog.
Of course she does. Of course. So we find out Sutton's ex-husband was the CEO of the mutual fund company where Gina's ex Matt used to work. And this cracked me up because Katie, she met Gina and kind of got integrated into this group kind of through Sutton. And so Katie tells us in confessional that she and Sutton had just like a little miscommunication when they first met because Sutton called her a little dim. That does not sound miscommunicative to me. Sounds like she called you stupid.
That reminded me of when Sutton told Teddy that she thought she was going to be a bit boring. And then she's like, and you're pregnant? Ugh. So I believe it. She probably didn't say that to her and mean it. Like, oh, you seem like you're dim.
Cracked me up. Look, Katie's saying that when she saw Heather Dubrow at Sutton's Christmas party after Gina had supposedly told Heather about her, and that Heather, I guess, turned around, looked straight at her and gave her that, pinched face look. But honestly, I don't know. I think that's just Heather Dubrow's face when she's not making a hard attempt at looking super pleasant. I think she just has RBF. And I think you would know, I think the thing is Heather's eyes get really big and then small and then big and then small whenever she's pissed.
I think because she's just constantly thinking about, you know what I mean? So as much as I would love to believe that that's how it went down, I think maybe it did perception wise come off that way to Katie. But I also think from Heather's side, she's probably like, oh, I don't even remember looking at you. Like, because she probably doesn't. And she wasn't even thinking about Katie at that moment. It was just like she was a throwaway stare.
Well, yeah. But she's thinking about her now, calling her Noella 1.5, not even a Noella 2.0. She said that too, like Entertainment Tonight, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But, I feel like Sutton gave her good advice. Like, girl, if a pig walks into my kitchen, I'm making bacon. In other words, don't enter this friend group and show up as this newbie expecting not to get ate up if you go after top dog Heather. But it sounds like Katie does not take this advice. She's gotten hyped up by whatever producer is working with her, and they're like, go after Heather.
I love it. I think she's the right one to go after Heather.
Yeah. Noella wasn't there.
No. She was such a spaz and she couldn't keep her thought in line. So you'd lose her. She had the right intent, just couldn't connect all the dots.
No. And then we got that really sad move out of Travis scene. I do want very briefly to just touch on a few main points with Jersey.
Yes.
Just a few. Have you noticed that these editors, this is what I love. They know that Dolores and Polly are the only two sane people on this entire effing cast, like for real. And so every time there's something happening, they love panning over to them. And it's usually Polly cracking up, or else it's Dolores just kind of going, no, I'm not getting involved in that. No, we're leaving. And side-eyeing. I love it. It's like our Jim on The Office pan over, like looking at the camera. That's what it feels like to me. You know what I mean? Because Polly's face during the podcast thing with Louie, come on.
That was that to me is a red flag.
Just that?
No, not just that, but I just feel like those are the moments that I think everyone's just
Something's
you
off.
need to tell me no one in the room is being like, this is weird.
And we're not just talking about Bill Aiden. Jenny. Baby.
Also, whatever, like for instance, Louie, his whole point in doing it is this was a moment to say things that you didn't normally say to your significant other, but the things that he said, he's already said, written on a scroll, said on it in his vow. Like he said all of these things to her. So what is the point?
He's trying to show America that he's going to make these men better spouses by being like him.
Okay, well, maybe start with picking better business people to surround yourself with. Start there.
He terrifies me. He does. Louie does. He scares me. Something about him, it's like he works so hard to give off this nice guy persona. And I've said this once and I'll say it again. I would have liked to see Teresa happy with a good man, like someone that is trustworthy. And there's just something off here.
There's a lot
aside
off,
from what we already know.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
There's a lot off, but the truth is, I think more and more it seems that maybe there's a part of Teresa that resonates with that, and there's a bond there, and maybe he gets her in a way that other people wouldn't get her.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, I don't know, but you know, time will tell. Time will tell.
Sure thing. Sure thing. Well, God bless John Fuda having that allergic reaction. Can I just say, Joe Bonino, the way he stepped up as father during that whole allergic reaction, I was like, okay, Margaret, I see what you're seeing here. Yes.
I mean, the man can fix up a house and call out anaphylactic behavior. I think that is a win-win.
I'm so sorry, but the fact that he was the only person who knew what anaphylaxis was like, can y'all get outside more, please?
Oh my God. I literally would not at all be surprised if nobody there knew, because they didn't even really think it was that serious until he came in and was like, no, he needs to go to the hospital.
Yeah. If production and Joe Bonino had not been there, it would have been bad. That's all I can say. Let's just Teresa's meeting of the mindless. Talk about a huge nothing burger, as we know. And here's the thing. I just want to point this out, and I'm curious your thoughts. Her attorney saying that he's never seen Teresa as stressed as she is now, not even when she went to prison. I have to say here, my friends, I think it's because there is something that she is scared of. And it's not, quote unquote, a bunch of lies and bullshit being spread. Because if that's the case, is that stressful? Yes. I am not discounting if someone is spreading bullshit about you. I've had that happen to me more times than I can count. And it is stressful. But if someone is doing it to the extent that you have your attorney and you have any way you can prove this is all bullshit, I don't know. I'm not going to be completely losing my mind like this, as she's claiming. There's something they're scared of.
Well, there's other things going on, I think, is the point. I don't think this is all just having to do with Margaret's involvement, and that's what's been stressing her out. And I also don't think whatever involvement Margaret did or didn't have was going to play a big factor in any of the cases that he's dealing with. Whether he's won some, lost some, I'm not sure. But the fact, like I said earlier, the fact that you had to bring your lawyer on an episode to film a scene to then explain to the women essentially what you're doing Yeah, she talked to Vanessa, but this is something I've said time and time again. She already talked about that openly. She did it on Jeff Lewis Live. She's talked about it in other places. Like, so when that was the reveal, I was like, who is advising her? Because I would have been like, no, honey, that you need more than that. I wouldn't bring a lawyer to come say that. You can say that alone. Like,
to just sit down, like, what? Did you have to pay his hourly?
Attorney makes it seem like, oh boy, there's some real stuff here involving Margaret, where like maybe Margaret was the one setting stuff up. I'm just saying, like,
the way they made it seem.
But yeah, there wasn't. And also, when was it appropriate for someone to be subpoenaed? Now, I'm not a lawyer, but when were you allowed to be subpoenaed and be like, oh, I'm not going to that? When was that allowed? I thought when you were subpoenaed, it meant like you pretty much had to go. Right? I mean, if there's any lawyers in the house, please let me know. I thought that's how it worked, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can be like, I'm good.
You know, that's why rich people who have these issues have attorneys on retainer that can take care of that for them.
I suppose.
I at least have some attorneys in my life that I could be like, so do I have to go?
It's good to have.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless that. And that floral arrangement Margaret sent. What I would have given, I don't know if she did it online, but I just want to pretend she called the floral shop. What I would have given to be getting that phone call being like, I'm sorry. And you what? Dear Teresa and Jim, I'm so sorry for your loss and the loss of your dignity. Oh, love. You sure you don't want just one love? And you notice that floral arrangement, she was like, no, I'm not putting roses on that. She sent all carnations.
As she should. As she should. And that was brilliant, by the way.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. And the only other thing I want to say is Teresa, that dingbat, once again, showed her entire hand by in the middle of all of it going, yeah, Jackie, you're the only one. You're the one out of anyone who would know if Margaret was talking to this ex, because they weren't allowed to say her name, Vanessa. And Jackie straight up, at the very least, was like, no, she never told me anything about doing that. It's like Teresa literally may as well have just been like, Jackie, and the only reason you're here is I want you to be the one to say. Her lawyer didn't need to be there. She just wanted to see if Jackie would say that because she thought Jackie would show up basically for anything.
Well, that's it. I think that's what they were banking on, because they're like, this is the moment that Jackie could come out and be like, well, she did tell me, like, you know what I mean? But Jackie's not stupid.
No.
She's not as dumb as we thought, actually.
She may be thirsty, but she's not dumb.
Very true.
Doesn't Jackie like have her JD?
Probably.
I'm pretty certain she does. Yeah. But anywho.
Not so fast.
Yeah. Well, besties, thank you again for joining us live today. Giorgio and I are so glad to be back together. And you know where to find me, Besties by Caitlin on Instagram, CAITLIN, and on TikTok, it's Besties by Bravo on YouTube. And, you know, you can listen to this anywhere you get your podcast. Giorgio, where can everyone find you?
Everyone can find me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube at Giorgio Says. My podcast is anywhere you get your podcast, and that is also Giorgio Says. And shout out to the live audience on Instagram right now that have been live with us currently throughout this hour and 13 minutes.
Oh, yes. We kept it going strong here. And besties, be sure and check out the Etsy shop I've got up, Pop Culture Besties. It's on Etsy. It will be in the show notes. I'll put that there, or you can just check it out by putting it in the search there. Very quickly before we hop off, you know I have to say hi to a few of you here in the chat. I've seen a lot of you just talking away. Hi, Miriam. Hi, Danny. Hi, Kelly. Now you're going to have to tell me if I'm saying this correctly. ATX Mel. And I see June. Hi, Dollface. No, that's the handle. Dollface, sorry. I see 3 Lima Bean, and I think I got everyone. Again, remember next time, join the chat if you want shout outs and I don't know, just talk with your fellow besties. But please leave a 5-star review wherever you listen, like this video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel here if you are watching on YouTube. And I will see you all live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, 12 p.m. Pacific on Thursday. And I do believe Georgia will be back next week, Tuesday, at our usual time. Hopefully we have some good juicy stuff come up this week. Anyway, we better, right? Oh, you're muted. I was like, did I do that?
I said we better.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I saw that. Well, we better. All right, besties. I will see you Thursday. Enjoy your Tuesday. Bye.
Bye, guys.